should Africa embrace or run from the net zero agenda? President Yoweri Museveni of Uganda stated ahead of the COP26 meeting that Africa needs balance in its energy mix, rather than simply rush for renewables favored by Western aid bodies and development NGOs. It is important that we know what net zero means. To go net zero is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and/or to ensure that any ongoing emissions are balanced by removals of greenhouse gases. In order to achieve net zero targets, the implementation of power generation considered renewable, such as wind and solar, is agreed to be one of the most important and necessary ways to go. Indeed, developing nations are being offered $100 billion annually to not invest in carbon-based conventional fuel in order to meet the Paris climate targets and meet the net zero agenda. The question therefore is, should Africans take the money and follow along with the net zero agenda or not? Some African leaders like President Museveni of Uganda think Africans shouldn't play along, and I'm inclined to agree with him. But first, we must begin with the facts. Africa is responsible for just 4% of global greenhouse gas emissions. According to IEA.org, the number of people without access to electricity is set to rise by 2% in 2021, with most of all the increase in sub-Saharan Africa. About 45% of people in Africa are without access to electricity. The average life expectancy for Africans in 2021 is 63.5 years. In comparison, the average life expectancy of someone that lives in the UK is in the high 70s if you're a male, or in the low 80s if you're a female. It is therefore important to understand that the strategy employed by advanced and wealthy nations cannot be the same strategy that is to be employed by uniquely deprived nations of Africa. And so, what should Africa's energy strategy be? As stated previously, the key metrics that define the progress of African nations looks pretty dire, considering the fact that African nations have been receiving billions in aid money for decades at this point, yet its people woefully lag behind. If aid money could make a nation wealthy, then countries like Egypt, Ethiopia, and Nigeria would be some of the wealthiest nations in the world. If aid money in the past did not work, why would accepting more aid money to not develop proven technologies to lift the material conditions of African people be a wise solution? The first energy strategy for Africa is to not accept the aid money, because it is a trap that will keep Africa behind. The second strategy is to invest in energy sources with a high energy yield and low environmental impact. It is important that in our quest to have clean energy, we do not cover the environment with energy collectors and overmine the earth in the process. Gas is an energy source that burns clean and hotly within a small space, which means you need a small area or plant, say the size of a couple of football fields, to generate the same energy that acres and acres of wind or solar farms can generate. This is what is meant by low impact energy. Africa has an opportunity to lead the way in this area. 4 of the top 20 nations with the largest gas reserves in the world are in Africa. African nations should invest heavily in gas production and consumption for the purpose of electrifying its grid. Gas can be extracted and relatively cheaply. It can be transported via pipelines easily, and the cost of building a natural gas plant is generally cheaper than other power plants such as nuclear, wind, or solar. This is mainly because the technology for gas power is comparatively straightforward and proven. The third energy strategy for African nations is to invest in an energy mix that is suitable for the locality of the country. Africa is a huge landmass with varying geography, geology, and natural resource. Therefore, the energy policy for different regions will need to factor in the opportunities each geography presents to the nations in them. For instance, East Africa has the highest potential for geothermal energy due to the geological features of the Rift Valley in East Africa. Geothermal potential in East Africa is estimated by some studies to be between 2,500 megawatts electric and 6,500 megawatts electric. Kenya is currently leading the way on extracting geothermal energy. Geothermal is a clean source of energy that operates 24/7, 365 days a year. North Africa and West Africa are rich in the abundance of gas and would therefore need to maximize the extraction of this resource to meet their power generation need. Nigeria currently flares and burns an awful amount of its gas, which could easily be used to generate power for the large population of that nation. Hydroelectricity is another real opportunity to generate vast amounts of reliable electricity. South Africa alone has about 500 dams. North Africa has the unique feature of the Sahara Desert, which presents vast areas of unused, sparsely habited land for the purpose of solar farms. This is an opportunity worth exploiting. In conclusion, on an ethical basis, it is wrong for advanced nations to demand from African nations to refrain from the use of technologies the built of the West. African nations have the benefit of 100 years of new technologies in power generation, which means that there are opportunities that have opened up due to technological advancement, such as fluidized coal, shale gas extraction, geothermal. This means that African nations have the benefit of using new technologies that have been developed over the past 100 years. This means that African nations can develop at a faster rate and yet at a cleaner rate than what Western nations could do. There are also unique opportunities for hydroelectricity or Saharan solar, such as being exploited in Morocco. So yes, in my opinion, Africa should run away from the net zero agenda as fast as it can. Why should Africa stymie its own development in the 21st century when there are clean, low-impact technology such as gas, fluidized coal, and geothermal energy? I hope these videos highlighted why Africa desperately needs reliable energy and why the net zero policy will not advance the unique situation Africa finds itself in. It would be great to hear your opinions on this matter. If you think I am wrong in my analysis, then I'd love to read your comments below. If you think I am correct, then give this video a thumbs up and share with your friends so that we can have sensible conversations about energy issues that affect both ourselves and our world. This is Tommy signing off on Energy Academy.